Gilded Age Season 3 Episode 8 ending explained. What just happened in the Gilded Age Season 3 Episode 8? No, seriously, what just happened? Because I'm still sitting here with my jaw on the floor and my tea turning cold. We just got betrayal, gunfire, society scandals, romantic implosions, and one of the most dangerous shifts in power this show has ever pulled off. And I'm telling you now the real danger. It's not the gun, it's the ripple effect. You think you know who pulled that trigger on George Russell. You think Marian's stubbornness is just about heartbreak. You think Bertha is untouchable in high society. Think again. I have a theory, one I shouldn't even say out loud, that connects that shot fired at George with the exact same forces that are about to rip apart both love and power in New York's most elite circles. And once you hear it, you'll never watch this episode the same way again. Here's the thing about the Gilded Age. It's a show that looks polished, elegant, and proper on the surface. But under that surface, it's brutal. It's cutthroat. It's survival of the richest. And this finale setup just proved that the people who look like they have it all are often the ones walking straight into a trap. Let's start with George Russell, because his storyline this episode isn't just business versus danger. It's the kind of power play that, historically, has ended careers, reputations, and in some cases lives. George has been balancing on a financial tightrope all season. The man's been pouring more money into his railroad expansion than he actually has. Investors have been bailing. After the humiliation with Richard Clay in episode 6, I thought we were watching the beginning of his downfall. But no. Larry Russell sweeps in from Morency with a business win so clean, so perfectly timed. It almost feels too good to be true. George is suddenly back on track. His empire survives another day. His plans can move forward. And that's exactly when someone points a gun at him and pulls the trigger. Coincidence? Please. This is the Gilded Age. Coincidences are just carefully orchestrated moves someone doesn't want you to see. Now here's the secret nobody's talking about. George Russell just made a comeback in a way that makes him more dangerous than ever. If you think his rivals in the business world, or the enemies he's made in high society, would let him rise without consequence, you don't know the real history this show is pulling from. In fact, in the 1890s, industrial titans didn't just compete, they eliminated competition. And elimination didn't always mean financial ruin. Sometimes it meant something much darker. I want to know, right now. Drop it in the comments. Who do you think pulled the trigger? Was it a business rival, a jealous lover, a political enemy, or, brace yourself, someone inside the Russell household? And if you're thinking, Sophia, there's no way this show would go that far, let me just remind you. John Adams' death in episode 6 already proved that the Gilded Age is ready to kill off characters who matter. Which brings us to the second scandal in episode 8, that's somehow just as explosive, and yes, it involves the downfall of Ward McAllister. Here's the part that made me laugh, cry, and scream into my pillow all at once. Ward McAllister decides, of all the possible career moves, to publish a tell-all book society as I have found it. Now, I love a good gossip bomb as much as anyone. From Gossip Girl to Lady Whistledown, there's nothing like watching the upper crust squirm when their secrets are exposed. But Ward, my sweet, self-sabotaging Ward, you just burned every single bridge you had in New York. And here's the kicker, the show didn't even make this up. This actually happened. In 1890, the real Ward McAllister published that exact book. And the result, total social exile. Now in the show, we watch high society turn their backs on him. Bertha Russell, who's been gathering influence like a queen collecting jewels, straight up admits her power isn't enough to save him from rejection. Which is fascinating, because it means even Bertha has limits. And limits, in the Gilded Age, are weaknesses. Imagine this. What if Bertha sees Ward's fall not just as a cautionary tale, but as an opportunity, a chance to take his place as the ultimate gatekeeper of high society? And if you've been watching my earlier breakdowns this season, you know I've been warning you. Bertha's biggest enemy isn't Mrs. Astor, it's her own ambition. This whole situation actually reminds me of my college roommate who once posted an anonymous blog about our entire friend group. It was not anonymous. 2 days later she was eating lunch alone. Ward, you're about to be the guy eating lunch alone in the gilded dining room. And now, oh Marian, sweet, stubborn Marian, I have defended you in past videos, but after this, girl, you are testing my patience. We all saw it. Larry Russell is innocent. Jack Trotter tells her straight up, and yet Marian refuses to take him back. Let's rewind. The engagement was announced in episode 5. It was the fairy tale moment we were rooting for. Then she hears about Larry's evening at the Haymarket, panics, and breaks it off in a letter. Doesn't even give the man a chance to explain. Now we're in episode 8, and she still won't listen. This isn't about the Haymarket anymore. This is about Marian's pride, and maybe her fear of stepping into the Russell world permanently. And that fear, that's her Achilles heel. Here's where things get juicy. What if Marian's rejection of Larry indirectly connects to George's shooting? Because if the Russell family is seen as unstable, vulnerable, or distracted, that's when enemies strike. The finale could very well show us that all these separate storylines are actually part of one massive chess game. And the move we just saw, that gunshot, it's checkmate. Here's the thing, people think the Gilded Age is a polite drama about rich people wearing expensive clothes. But this episode proves it's actually a war story. The battleground is society, the weapons, reputation, money, and information. And right now, George Russell is lying in the crosshairs while everyone else is too distracted with their own dramas to see the real threat moving in. And if you think this mystery shooter is going to be revealed in some obvious way, think again. The Gilded Age loves a slow burn, which means the truth won't just fall into our laps. It's going to crawl out from the shadows piece by piece. And when it does, we might wish we hadn't asked. Okay, time for a theory I probably shouldn't be saying out loud. What if George's shooter is not a stranger? Think about it. George's business enemies have every reason to take him down. But they're also logical. Killing a man of George's status, that's messy. That's scandalous. That's a move you make only if you've already got a way to cover it up. So here's my forbidden knowledge theory. Someone close to the Russells has been feeding information to his enemies, and the attack on George wasn't a spur of the moment act, it was the end of a long game. Now, could that person be in his business circle? Sure. But what if they're in his household? Remember, in the Gilded Age, loyalty is fragile. Servants see and hear everything. Family members have secrets they'd burn the city down to protect. And when someone has a motive strong enough, blood ties mean nothing. So I want to throw it to you. If it was someone inside the Russell home, who would it be? A rival businessman pretending to be an ally? A staff member who's been wronged? Or someone from Bertha's world of high society trying to cripple her through her husband? Drop your wildest guess in the comments, because I'm gonna pull the best ones for the next video. Speaking of Bertha, let's talk about her so-called victory this episode. Yes, she's rising in social power. Yes, she's maneuvering like a master. But this whole McAllister scandal showed us something critical. Bertha can't save everyone. And if she can't save McAllister, she might not be able to save George. Imagine the finale. We open with George fighting for his life, Bertha scrambling to keep the vultures of high society from circling, and all the while, Marian's rejection of Larry sends rumors flying that the Russell family is fractured. In the real 1890s, a single scandal could erase years of social climbing, and the Russells are sitting on 3 scandals at once. Remember when I said in episode 5's breakdown that Bertha's greatest strength, her ambition, would eventually turn into her biggest liability? This is the moment. She's been playing the game so aggressively that she's about to become the game's most tempting target. It's like watching someone build the tallest card tower at a party, while everyone else quietly bets on when it's gonna fall. You're impressed, but you're also low-key hoping you're there for the collapse. Now here's the twist nobody's preparing for. Marian could still reverse everything. If she took Larry back, publicly, it would project stability and strength for the Russells right when they need it most. But Marian's pride is the real villain here. She's not just saying no to Larry, she's saying no to a life she's afraid might change her. And in the Gilded Age, refusing to evolve is, I'll admit, I once stayed mad at a boyfriend for 3 months because I thought he unfollowed me on Instagram. Turned out he deleted the app. So yeah, I've been Marian. Let me pull the curtain back for a second. The real threat in episode 8 isn't the gunshot, it's the timing. Every major player is distracted. Bertha's dealing with the McAllister fallout. Marian's stuck in heartbreak denial mode. George just got his business back on track. That's exactly when you make your move if you're trying to bring down an empire. Historically, many of the robber barons of the late 19th century faced assassination attempts, not just from rivals, but from political radicals who saw them as the enemy of the working class. And those attacks often happened right after a major financial victory, because that's when jealousy and resentment hit their peak. What if the Gilded Age is about to blend fact and fiction in the finale? What if the shooter is based on a real historical figure whose grudge went deeper than money? Okay, pause. If you're still watching at this point, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is where we take the polite smiles of the Gilded Age and rip them wide open to see the secrets underneath. And trust me, the finale is going to give us a lot to talk about. Here's my call. Episode 9 opens with George's fate hanging by a thread. Bertha is forced to either sacrifice someone in her circle or risk losing her power entirely. Marian is given one last chance to choose between love and pride, and her decision will either save the Russell name or shatter it forever. And in the final moments, we'll find out the identity of the shooter. And it won't be the person we've been suspecting. It'll be someone whose betrayal cuts so deep, the entire I swear, if the finale ends on another gunshot cliffhanger, I'm gonna go full Michael Scott yelling "No" in my living room. So here's what I want from you. Drop your finale theories below. Who fired the shot? Does George survive? Does Marian swallow her pride? And most importantly, will Bertha's ambition finally cost her everything? Because the truth is, in the Gilded Age, survival isn't about who has the most money, it's about who's willing to play the dirtiest game.